because they're saying that lawmakers can reschedule marijuana with greater, in a quote, greater speed and flexibility, just like myself, and lower legal risk than current DEA process. Congressional researchers are saying, you guys, this is going to get interesting. This is super interesting, you guys. Hope you're ready for this. Congress can reschedule or deschedule controlled substances such as marijuana with greater speed and flexibility and a lower risk of a judicial challenge compared to administrative process that is currently underway, congressional researchers say. In a report published on Tuesday, the Congressional Research Service, the CRS, discussed the various mechanisms through which scheduling actions can be implemented, noting the comparative limitations of the process that the Biden administration is undertaking as it seeks to move cannabis from a Schedule 1 to a Schedule 3 on the Controlled Substances Act. After laying out various instances where Congress has stepped in and made a scheduling decision, such as the federal legalization of hemp under the 2018 Farm Bill, CRS then discussed further considerations for lawmakers. While the majority of past scheduling actions have been implemented by the DEA, Congress has broad authority to amend the CSA, including by scheduling, rescheduling, or descheduling substances, the report says, adding that legislation has been proposed in recent sessions to change the legal status of marijuana and other drugs. And in a quote, there are several reasons why Congress might decide to schedule or reschedule substances via legislation, it says. For instance, compared to administrative scheduling, legislative scheduling may offer greater speed and flexibility. In an additional quote, administrative scheduling under the CSA proceeds via formal rulemaking, which generally takes months or years to complete. In making scheduling decisions, DEA is required by statute to make certain findings with respect to each substance's potential for abuse and accepted medical use. It continues that DEA scheduling orders, other than temporary scheduling orders, are subject to judicial review, including consideration of whether the agency properly applied the relevant statutory standards. Now, that's an interesting quote right there, because I did not realize that they could put a temporary one that's not subject to that. So maybe that is going to what the administration may possibly do. But nonetheless, we're going to continue with this article. To that point, it did take 11 months for the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services to complete its review into cannabis and make an initial rescheduling recommendation. DEA then completed a separate review before the Justice Department formally proposed moving marijuana to Schedule 3 with a 60-day public comment period open until later this month. Multiple parties have used the comment period to request an administrative hearing, which could further delay the issuance of a final rule, and lawsuits challenging rescheduling could also become a factor down the line. Congress, on the other hand, could reschedule or deschedule marijuana more quickly and with a lower threat of a judicial challenge, the CRS said. And in a quote, Congress is not bound by the CSA's substantive or procedural requirements, the report says. This means that it can schedule a substance immediately, regardless of whether the substance meets the statutory criteria. While scheduling legislation may also be challenged in court, the scope of judicial review of legislation is typically more limited than judicial review of regulations. It also says legislative action, in quotes, may be the only way to permanently schedule large classes of substances, such as fentanyl-related substances, given the intensive statutory requirements imposed on DEA under the CSA. And relatively, the CSA provides DEA with limited options for regulating controlled substances, the CRS says. They also say the CSA established Schedules 1 through 5, with each schedule carrying a defined set of regulatory controls and penalties for unauthorized activities. If DEA decides to control a substance under the CSA, it must place the substance in one of the existing schedules. The agency has asserted some authority to tailor controls to specific substances, but it cannot create new schedules or implement regulations or exemptions from control that are not authorized under the CSA. If Congress wishes to regulate a controlled substance in a way that it does not fit with the existing CSA framework or allow DEA to do so, it must enact legislation. Additionally, the report notes that while DEA is bound to consider certain internal treaty obligations when it comes to drug scheduling, those same commitments do not prevent Congress from exercising its constitutional authority to enact new laws, even when doing so might cause the United States to violate its treaty obligations, end quote. Certain GOP lawmakers have contended that the United Nations treaties to which the U.S. is a party should mean that marijuana cannot be rescheduled as proposed. The Justice Department's Office of Legal Counsel, the OLC, has addressed that issue and concluding that the government can satisfy those treaty obligations even if it moves marijuana to Schedule 3 with proper regulations in place. Meanwhile, although lawmakers have proposed rescheduling and descheduling marijuana as part of a variety of bills, others more recently have attempted to prevent administrative cannabis scheduling changes. A spending bill that advanced through the House Appropriations Committee would intact that restrictions, for example. GOP senators have separately tried to block the administration from rescheduling cannabis as part of a standalone bill filed last September, but that proposal was received a hearing or vote, including such a ban in key annual spending legislation is a way for opponents to force the issue forward. It's far from clear that the Democratic-controlled Senate would go along with that proposal, however. And the Appropriations Committee is also directing the Biden administration to account for how it arrived at that decision to reschedule marijuana. That's a story we covered yesterday on High at 9 News, while also expressing concerns about cannabis-impaired driving and the market for intoxicating hemp-based cannabinoids, you guys. Well, I mean, this article is pretty much stating mostly of the obvious, which we have always said here on High at 9 News, is that Congress can deschedule or reschedule cannabis, and it would be much quicker and face much less legal scrutiny. But nonetheless, I can't wait to hear what you guys have to say about this. And I'm really interested in this temporary thing, and I have a feeling that that's what the Biden administration may be going after. But nonetheless, it's Jason Beck for the High at 9 News Hour. What do y'all got to say about this?
All right, so
this is the struggle between administrative state and Congress, or the legislative bodies in each state. And when they took away the Chevron doctrine, the Loper Bright.
Thank God they did that.
Yeah. Well, but what I think's coming, Jason, is that the Supreme Court is ready, willing, and able to rein in the administrative state, administrative law, proceedings that take place in these agencies. And they want real courts to step in when there's decisions to be made that involve people's rights substantially. And if there's questions about what power Congress gave you, it should go to the courts or back to Congress. And for those of us who have fought with the DEA since forever, you know that they are the ultimate drag your feet, piss you off, not do anything that you want them to do. Even the courts can't do anything to them because you never get anything other than, oh, you have the next step in the administrative process, we're going to force you to take it. No one ever looks at them and go, hey, what you're doing is unconstitutional. Get the fuck out of here. I hope that this court gets a case where it can further unravel some of these administrative law feet-dragging processes that just frustrate the hell out of those of us who have to appear before them, and you just can't get shit done.
Yeah, big shout out to Justice Clarence Thomas.
Oh no, fuck Justice Thomas. But anyways,
haters.
That being said, this story is basically saying that Congress says that they did their own research and found that they are the ones that can get or descheduling done.
Well, I think you want to. Well, no, this is not actually Congress. This is Congress's advisory panel. This is a group of staffers that came to this realization to make sure that Congress is aware that they can move in this manner.
Yeah, I mean, this is like any and every damn rapper in the world claiming to be the best. Y'all might add a banger or two, but the complete body of work does not support your claims.
Rest in peace, Tupac.
So thanks to, and just like Dale said, thanks to Chevron, everything's going to be going to the Supreme Court. And the current lineup in the Supreme Court They can barely handle the load that they have now. Who's going to decide like what precedents or what order this thing's going to even get handled? And it's going to be a political football being punted one way or the other, man. Like shit is not okay. The current Supreme Court lineup is trash. And,
no, it's not.
And now Congress putting out.
There's only like 3 members that are trash on the Supreme Court.
Get out of here, dude.
This is garbage.
Just get out of Congress can't get anything done. How are they going to now? They're going to step up and reschedule cannabis.
I'll tell you what. I have a crystal ball. I have a little crystal ball here, and now after reading this article, I know exactly how this is going to happen.
It's certified crystal.
Certified crystal. Yeah, Baccarat crystal.
Swarovski.
Yeah, Swarovski. Yeah, all of that. Yeah. So basically, this is what's going to happen. The Biden administration, since they know they can't really do this, is going to put cannabis as a Schedule III drug on a temporary status, since that's something that they can enact, and therefore punting it to force Trump to do something on it when he is the president, to finalize that type of temporariness and whatnot. So they're going to ultimately force Trump to do something, and hopefully Trump will deschedule cannabis and direct Congress to get something to his desk once he's the president. But that's what I ultimately believe is going to ultimately happen. And the Democrats are going to try to say, hey, we can only do the temporary thing now, so you need to make sure that you vote Democrat so we can finish our job, and da-da-da-da-da, and da-da-da. And they're going to use it as a total fishing line to try to lure voters to vote for them.
I don't even think it's that big of an issue for them to even.
Oh, 100% is 100% is. You have a voting initiative going on in North Dakota. You have a legalization initiative going on in Florida. Those are 2 states that Democrats would definitely want to take control of. And data shows that in states with legalization bills on the ballot, that it turns out more Democratic voters, even the dead ones.
Especially the dead ones.
But ultimately, this is not an executive decision. Congress has the constitutional power to make these decisions. They can delegate certain things to the executive branch to go out and enforce, but the executive branch and their administrative processes have just grown into just a huge beached whale. It's impossible to deal with them anymore. And Congress has the ultimate power. Congress could wipe out the entire Controlled Substances Act.
Exactly.
But I don't see the Congress having the balls to do anything right now other than, have internal pissing matches with each other.
Well, thank goodness I did see a post on social media where Republicans are calling for the removal of Mike Johnson and talking about putting Matt Gaetz in his place, which we would get a vote for descheduling if that was the case.
Yeah, well, if that's the most important thing in your world, great.
I mean, there's lots of important things in my world, Dale.
There's some nut jobs in Congress right now on both sides.
Yeah, I agree with that.
One of them.
I agree with that. Matt Gaetz is not a nut job. He is a champion for freedom and liberty.
Yeah, he's a champion for freedom to do whatever the fuck you want with whoever you want, I guess.
Whoa.
I guess he's a big Drake fan.
You're so stupid. So stupid. He's way more of a Kendrick Lamar fan. Way more of a Kendrick Lamar fan. Not to mention Taylor Swift. He's a big fan of Taylor Swift, too. He actually helped her with her whole music thing when Scooter Braun was trying to...
Maybe the liberal media's problem.
Take her music.
Yeah, maybe the liberal media's problem is cutting off the conservatives when they say save the children, and instead of letting them finish, save the children for us.
Well, you have to let them finish if you want to save the children, Rico.
Save the children for who, Jason? For who?
Yes. You have any thoughts on this, Jenny Beth? You're coming in pretty quiet today.
Your presidential candidate has some interesting ties in this latest.
I don't know. I think it's interesting
yesterday.
the government's passing the ball around again. It's an election year, so let's let this settle down and see what actually happens. But I think that a reschedule would still be pretty shitty, because then they're going to say, well, we've addressed it. And that's going to push it farther down, and we're going to be stuck in a shitty Schedule 3.
Fair enough.
Can we turn on Jenny's mic, please?
I turned it on. Did you not get it? Hold on. Yeah, I have it turned up, Adam. Are you not registering it? Jenny, talk.
It's Jenny's here.
I'm hearing it.
Okay.
You can hear me now?
All right. Just do I need to turn it up higher, Adam?
Yeah, make sure it's channel 2, please.
Yep. Got you, buddy. Got you. There we go. Hope that's better. Let me know if I need to do any more technical support.
Shout out to Ted Lieu.
Shout out to Adam over here. Sky remoting in. Yes.
I was like, over where?
Yes.
Jason
Adam
Beck
feathered his way in. He feathered his way into the live stream. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I love it.
It's hard to hear Rico, but that's okay. I'm sure his new camera fucked up his old mic.
No, I'm pretty